Keep going.
I was just focusing on just this part. I
Just
really love this part. Yeah.
this one's going. This one, you should feel like you're pushing down into something, right? And this one, you're pulling up into something, right?
It's beautiful movement,
Yes, it is.
especially when you do it very slow, actually. Very, very slow. I love it.
Good. Well, let's see how you're doing with the elbow in the second move. Okay, let me see you do it. Okay, two things. Very good. All right. First of all, very good. You got your elbow down and you moved shoulder, elbow, and then wrist. So good. Two other things. Um, when you when you do this move here,
I don't have it.
it's okay. You're getting there. All right. It's little by little. The first thing is when you do this opening, your chi should go out all the way to the ends of your fingers. Because you want that leverage to block this person on both sides, right? So, but then so your hands are not just weak; they're not just like this, right? They should be a little more chi in your fingertips. But then when you come down, it changes from your fingertips, which still stay kind of full, but it changes from your fingertips to your palms. So fingertips, palms. This is somebody's elbow. So you're not actually on this part, right? You're not actually using your hand, you're using your wrist.
That's difficult to use your wrist, I mean.
You know, I'm not going to keep saying this because I know you're not.
I know,
I
Malcolm.
know you're
Don't
not
do
coming
say.
to the retreat. But if you were coming to the retreat, I would do this move with you. And if you felt it done to your body, you would understand it.
I know. I'm aware
At
of
this
it.
really basic level. All right, watch. 1, 2, 3. All right? This is like this. All right? And 4. So the hands are like semaphores.
Mm.
Back in the day, France under Napoleon I built a system of semaphores through the Atlantic counties, right, or provinces, or whatever you guys call them, right? They're like semaphores, right? They have an intelligence system built into them. They're not random, and they're not just flopping around, all right? They're very directed. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're full. They're not tense, but they're full. Like a full balloon. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Yes. Good.
So it's in your palm.
At the end, this one here, your palm is up, but what you're using is this part of the wrist underneath.
Yeah.
Could you do it like this? Well,
No.
yeah, you could, but it's better to do it like this. All right. Watch. when you go like this, it presses this down and in,
Down.
and that's why you're doing it.
Aha. I was doing this, and it's this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, every detail counts and
Yes.
changes everything if you don't
Yes.
pay attention to it.
That's exactly right. A tiny little change in where your fingers or your toes or your hips or your arm is changes everything.
Yeah.
And it's not that one's right and one's wrong. It just would kind of depend on what it is you're trying to accomplish.
And
So,
what you're trying to say.
yeah, exactly. What your shinyi is, what your intention is as an artist. So this is a level that I like, but that most people never get to. Honestly, they just never get there. The 99% of people never get there. They just they just learn the outer choreography. And so in a certain sense it's empty. It's like empty art. It's like those artists on TV, and they like do a mountain scene and they squirt some green and some blue on there, and then they use a palette knife and they make a pretty picture. It's empty. It's just formulaic, but there's no heart in it. There's no soul.
I'm not like that. So
there's no real intention in it.
yeah.
I that kind of art is it's cute, and for certain people it's what they can do, so it's fine. It always sort of makes me smile, but I don't want to do that. I want to do something really different. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but I want it to be authentic. I want it to be out of what I'm really thinking and feeling, right? And this is it. When I do the form, right? I like that sense of moving from place to place. Right? If Annie was standing here, you're bumping her. You're bumping her with your hip. Boom. Right? Okay, let's go on to. I don't know if we really did enough work on move number 4. Too bad James is not here, but all right. So move number 4, just to recapitulate it. Watch this elbow.
What we do in Qigong.
Yeah, it's very much like that. All right. Watch the connection between this and this. If you did it like this, you wouldn't accomplish much because you're not involving your body and you're not using your body weight. Right? So just doing your elbow in a circle, well, okay, that's good for your shoulder, but it's not really Tai Chi. It's this. It's shifting your weight and rotating your Dan Chin, and then bringing that motion up into your elbow. So you should know by now, there are 4 energies in every circle. All right? Watch. Pum, Lu, An, Chi, Pum, Lu, An, Chi. So I'm bringing that up because I want you to pay attention to the 3rd energy, An. There's a lot of ways to do it wrong and one way to do it right. When you are doing the on energy, you're trapping someone. Right? On. It's coming down. If that's going down, something has to go up. All right? And what's going up is inside your center core. On. All right? As you come down, this goes up. So when you do the form, you want to see bad form. I'll show you some bad form. Uday. Not correct. What it should look like is this. Same thing here. Something comes up. All right, same thing here. Something comes up in the center. Same thing here. Something's got to come up. For that to go down, something has to come up. What you're doing with your hands, I don't have anybody here to demonstrate, but what you're doing with your hands is placing them right on someone's hip. All right? So your hands are coming down onto their hip. All right? And then you collapse the hip. You feel that bone there. Feel this is your superior iliac crest, that bone. Right underneath that bone is a kind of weak spot. All right, so you come down on that bone and then push into that weak spot, and it will collapse someone's hip. I mean, it won't break it, but it will collapse the structure. All right. So you come in, you bump them with your own hip, and then you push them.
So you first push them with your hip, and then you come with your hands.
Yeah, but it's they're very close to each other. Right? So it's bump push. Right? It's almost the same moment. Yeah. It's just like snapping your fingers, right? You build up a little pressure and then you release it. Build up, release. Build up, release. Build up, release.
I mean, right now it doesn't look good, but I'm going to work on it, and it will be better next week.
It's tricky. What you're experimenting with is called Fajin, exploding energy. It's very powerful. You should be a little careful with it because you can hurt yourself trying to do this, and you do it the wrong way and you end up hurting yourself. How do I explain it? Imagine that you're teaching a little 6-year-old kid to snap a whip, right? Now they're pretty young. They're probably not going to get it. All right. But you teach them what is the difference between just sort of flopping this around, right? And actually using it as a whip. Right? You gotta get that snap in there. All right?
Mm.
Snap. Snap. All right? That's the same thing in Fa Jin. Better. Yeah. Watch my body. Watch this line here.
La serviette dehors.
All right, I'm going to do it. This is incorrect. This is not correct. No. All right. Watch this center line. You're still
Yeah.
moving here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what you're doing. You don't know how to do this, so you're kind of experimenting, which of course is good, right? What you do it with is this. You do it with this. Right? Watch this. Watch this guy. Snap, snap, snap. Better. Yeah.
But now I don't move at all. Because I see you, I see the little square moving when you do it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It
back
does.
and forth. It should
Yeah.
be back and forth a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like this.
Yeah.
All right. It's done with the daimai around the waist. I've got kind of a mess here. The daimai goes all the way around the waist, right? So you use that, right? In this case, we would be going around like this. Snap, snap. Well, work on it. Just play with it a little bit.
So when you do the move, it's exactly the same.
Yes,
You don't.
yes, yes, that's true, but you don't actually do it in the form.
Uh-huh.
All right, let me explain. Let me clean this up and explain.
Ami,
All right. So when you do it in the form, you do everything except execute it. You set everything up and then you just relax. You don't actually do it, but you should be able to do it. All right. So you do not do this. No. You just set it up. So you're practicing the mindset, you're practicing the energy channels, you're practicing the body mechanics, you're practicing everything except the actual execution.
this is why it's so difficult actually, because you have to understand what you're doing. You don't do it, but at the same time, it must show somewhere in the move that you have that in your mind. So it's tricky.
Someone, let's say that you go to a tournament and you enter the tournament to do this form. And there's going to be one or two or three judges, usually just one judge, but it just depends. All right. That person will probably have been doing this form for 30 or 40 or 50 years.
Mm.
They see exactly what you're doing.
I know.
You can't hide anything from them. So in a way, you don't have to show out because they'll see your mindset. They'll see what's happening with your energy channels.
Yeah.
They know you can be very, very gentle.
Yeah.
They see your energy. How can I say? We
No,
use
but I understand.
we use see, but it's not your eyes that are seeing.
No,
It's something
no.
else. All right. And so they know whether you know.
Yeah.
They can
But,
tell
yeah.
whether you know or not.
Yeah. It's what you have inside that it translates into the way you do the move. I mean, when I see you, I understand. And when I see you and then I see myself, I understand the difference, that's for sure. So many things I miss in the way I do it.
Don't forget, I've been doing this for 30 years.
I know, but
And working with my teacher day after day after day after week after month after year. You cannot get this quickly. There's too many details. Now the good thing is once you learn what's going on, you can go on to a new move and you don't start from the beginning.
mm-hmm.
Because you can take all that knowledge with you and go, oh, okay, this is a different move or a new move, but I understand the basic principles.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing something that goes down, right? So maybe I'm doing a move like this. Right? You know what you're doing because of all the other stuff that you've done. Right? So in a way, it's really very much like learning a foreign language. Once you know 500 words, well, the truth is that the number of words that the average speaker in any language uses is about 3,500 words. They may know many more words, but they don't usually use them.
Mm-hmm.
So just in conversation, it's about 3,500 words. It's a little different for each language. Well, if you know 500 words, well, you've got a pretty good beginning. And so to learn the next words, when did you learn English? When you were a kid?
No,
Oh,
when I arrived in the States when I was 35.
okay. So you were an adult, which is much more difficult to learn a language when you're an adult, usually. But you speak very well, much better than my French. But when you first started learning, it must have been very slow.
Very.
Just a few words here and there. And then gradually until you become fairly fluent. So you can think of, I love the word fluent because it implies flowing, it implies water. And that's exactly what Tai Chi is. You're becoming fluent in Tai Chi. It's the same process, it's exactly the same process. It's very slow at first. So I've told you this before, and I'm sure you don't believe me, but trust me, you are way ahead of where most people are after a couple of years. Now, this is because you're good, but it's also because you have such an excellent teacher, all right? So we have most classes, they just go on and you just learn more and more forms, but it's very shallow. You don't go, there's no depth in the training usually. Why? Why do they do that? Because training in depth is very difficult. Just learning more forms, that's easy. But what good does it do you?
Well, I like learning like that. I like learning in depth.
Yes,
Really, much more than
I do too. That's what I'm interested in. Is like, as far as I'm concerned, we can just work on the first 6 moves in the form for the rest of eternity, practically, right?
that would be
Sure,
fine with me.
you can go on and learn more. Absolutely. Uh-huh. Well, we'll learn all that stuff, but the basic principles are all in the first few moves.
Mm.
And if you can grab the basic principles, then you can do anything.
Mm.
And if you don't have the basic principles, you can't do anything. So what's the use? Anyway, I think you're doing well. So, all right, when you did this move, you did it well.
Mm. Well, I did it at least 50 times last night. So yes, now I do it well. It was just like I did only that, like for half an hour.
That's exactly what you need to do. Years ago, I read a story by a Chinese guy explaining what it was like. This was something that was probably written in the 40s or 50s, maybe the 30s, who knows. But he was working with a Tai Chi teacher who was an older Chinese gentleman. This is the way they taught. The two of them would get together in a place in one of the parks in Beijing. I think they were in Beijing. And he said, my teacher would demonstrate the move 3 times. And then he'd say, I'll be back in 2 weeks. If you have it in 2 weeks, then I'll show you the next move. If you don't have it, then you're going to have to continue to work on it. So they were very, very strict. And I'm not saying that I think that's a good teaching technique. I don't think it's really very good. But that's the way they used to do it. They would demonstrate the move 3 times. And then he'd do that twice more. And he'd say, okay, you practice. I'll be back in 2 weeks.
But what if you didn't get it all? I mean, that's not easy to get.
Tough. Tough. What would you do? What would you do?
Well, I guess you just do it.
You have to learn that move and your teacher's gone away. Now what do you do? And they didn't have, YouTube
Yeah,
or any of that stuff. They didn't
yeah.
even have books.
Yeah, you just do it. You just do it and do it.
You do it and do it as well as you can remember. And if you're smart, you look for other students
Yeah.
who are also working on things and you try and do some work together. But the truth is you're probably what the teacher, I'll tell you what a Tai Chi teacher wants to see. The old Tai Chi teachers, as well as the new ones, they want to see the effort. They want to see the effort. In the old days, do you know Kevin Dwyer?
Yeah.
Another student, right? Um, he went to a Tai Chi school in St. Louis and said, I'd like to join, I'd like to join the class. And they said, well, no, you can't join. You can watch it if you want. You can watch. Well, why can't I join? No, you can watch if you want. Why can't I join? You can watch if you want. So he came every day for 6 months and watched. There's Kevin now. All right. He came every day for 6 months before they let him in the class. Right, Kevin? You had to watch for 6 months before they let you in the class.
Oh yeah, and I caught hell trying to I touched one of the weapons that was on the side of the.
Oh my God, you touched one of the weapons. Ooh, without permission.
The funny thing is it wasn't getting yelled at by Justin. It was one of the asshole students sitting waiting for me because he thought that, you don't even know what you're doing. I'm waiting and I know what I'm doing.
But in China, it's that way too. You would go to a master, and if you had a letter of introduction, or if you knew a master who could recommend you, then you might get in for a class. But you might not become a student right away. But if you just came in off the street and you say, I'd like to take your Tai Chi class. No, 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 I'm sorry, we're too busy. We're all full. We're too busy. But there's plenty of room. No, we're all full. Too busy. Sorry, very sorry. Right? And if you went away, then that was the end of it.
Yeah.
Right? If you came back the next day and said the same thing, they'd say, no, no, sorry, too busy. Go away. And then you come back the next day and they say, okay, you can sit and watch. And you sit and watch and you sit and watch day after day, week after week. After maybe 2 or 3 months, they would say, I'll tell you what, why don't you take that broom and clean the floor after we're done?
Gee, I did that. For you.
Exactly.
For you.
Exactly. Clean the floor. All right. Clean the blackboard, clean the floor. Do that for a few months. And then if you still keep showing up, they go, okay, all right, maybe you can start the beginning class. Why? Why do they do that?
To see if you really want to study.
Yes. This is very difficult. It's very, very difficult. It's very easy to do, but it's very hard to learn. And if you aren't persistent, if you don't really have the personal internal motivation, what will happen is you will take a class for 2 or 3 weeks and then you'll disappear.
Mm.
And that's just a waste of the teacher's time. No, I hate to be hard about it, but it's the truth.
Yeah, it is.
I've been doing this for 15 years. Yeah.
What's that?
I've been doing this for 15 years. So that with Malcolm.
Yeah.
Still don't have it. Closer.
But you're closer. You're closer. All right? The teacher wants students who want to know this, who really are committed inside themselves to learning this, because it is not easy. It's very difficult, and it requires tremendous persistence,
Patience
and persistence. Okay, guys, I need to take a little break here, and then we'll do the advanced class. Ciao.